Mayor Barletta, why do you think the Liberals continue to put the responsibility of the plight of illegal aliens on the U.S. government rather than on the Mexican government, who is ultimately responsible for its citizens?
Well, you know, I believe the United States government isn't doing anything. They're putting the responsibility on you, the taxpayer, and on me as a mayor, and on everyone else. The responsibility is falling down to the local government. That's where that's where the burden is. It's the taxpayer that pays the cost of illegal immigration. Now, they can make federal laws in Washington, but when somebody who is in the country illegally commits a crime in your city, your resources are being used to make the arrest. Those costs, the cost of incarcerating illegal aliens, fall to the counties as well. Anytime we send a code enforcement officer, a health officer, a police officer, a fireman dealing with the situation with someone here illegally, the cost goes down to the local government. So it's not only Mexico. It's not only Mexico. You know, as I said, 1/3 to 1/2 of everyone that's in the country illegally is here on an expired visa, and they could be from anywhere in the world. So it's not only a Mexican. In Hazleton, the majority, I should say, of illegal aliens that have committed crimes are from the Dominican, and they didn't cross the Mexican border, which raises another red flag. How are they getting into the country? They're coming in through airports and seaports. Now, we have a national security problem that ties to this. And I truly believe that it will be a matter of time before again, our country will see, and thank God that we have, good people in Homeland Security, but our borders cannot remain open. And it's not just the Mexican border. It's a problem through anywhere there's an international airport. You are a border state. I truly believe that. So, and again, the cost is unfairly paid for by people on the local level.
Can you give any insight into why we haven't taken a harder look and maybe even adopted some of the Canadian model factors? They screen the people. They bring the people. If businesses want immigrants to come in here, I could believe in it as long as there was a sense of what do you need and let them in. And now it might take 5 years, but at least you'd be getting somebody that could help this country do a lot better than it is.
Well, that's a good point, and there's a lot of discussion that because of the illegal immigration that we are not allowing in some of the brightest and best that could help many of the businesses, that we need to extend those visas, bringing in more educated immigrants as well to help some of our corporations and businesses here as well. There's a lot of talk about that as well. And when also the discussion about who commits crimes, and immigrants that are here legally are less likely to commit crimes than even people who are born here in America. And they say that because of the fact that immigrants that come here through the legal process have criminal background checks done on them and medical screening as well. And they have not committed crimes, so they're less likely to commit a crime here because we know the type of person that they're coming in. So it's unfair. That's why I get so upset when people, when I talk about illegal immigration and somebody includes legal immigrants in the discussion, because that's unfair to the legal immigrants, because they are less likely to commit crimes than people who, when someone comes in the country illegally, we have no idea what their background was. We don't know if they've committed any crimes. We have no knowledge of their medical history. So it's a total different problem than people who have come through the legal process. So we should never include legal immigrants in this discussion. And unfortunately, sometimes people leave out the word illegal, and discussion just then becomes about immigrants, and you might as well just stop talking at that point because you're not being fair.
Yeah, Mayor Barletta, I'm Chris Wolf from Whitehaven, and I've supported you in the past, and I'll continue to support you. And I believe as people hear your message, that the majority of people will support you, and I agree with your positions. My question is a little bit more along personal lines. I'm curious to know what it is that's shaped your worldview. What is it at your core that will keep Washington from changing you instead of your goal of changing Washington?
Thank you. You know, I never liked politics growing up. I wanted to play center field for the Yankees. I talk about that story all the time. And if I could hit a curveball, I truly believe I would have been there. You know, I started, my wife and I had started our own business. And I purely intended that that's what my life would be. We started a business, and it was while we were raising our family and starting a business that I started noticing, I started paying more attention to government. I started seeing how government was interfering with business, with some of their over-regulations at points, and how it hindered small business. And it was also at a time when Ronald Reagan became president, and I became a very good follower of Ronald Reagan. I liked the way Ronald Reagan managed. He didn't micromanage. He set people on a direction and let them do their job. You know, so that I began to be interested in government at that point. I also didn't like local politics in my city. There was a lot of fighting between city council and the mayor, and I thought that was hurting business. Many businesses were leaving Hazleton, and I decided that rather than complain, I would do something about it. And I realized that once I got on city council, I couldn't do enough. I needed to be mayor, and that was the way I could make the changes that I believed. Rather than let somebody else do it, I wanted to be the person to do it. I wasn't going to just complain. And if I look back at my life now, if I reflect back, you know, I think I've always had that in me. You know, when I played baseball, I had to be the center fielder because I wanted to make sure I could catch all the balls in the outfield. You know, I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to, you know, to start my own business. When I saw problems in my city, I felt that I could do most by being the mayor. I look at Washington and I see how broken it is. I see Democrats can't get along with Republicans, Republicans can't get along with Democrats, and the people suffer. You know, when I became mayor, we threw our labels out. City council and the mayor get along, we get things accomplished. I believe our city has prospered because of that. You know, we leave our party outside the council chambers and we work for the people. I am still naive enough to believe that one person can make a difference in our country. And I plan on doing that. I plan on going to Washington and being a different type of politician, one that will work with people on both sides of the aisle if I believe it's for the best of good of the people that I represent. I am also a person that's not afraid to stand up. I had to stand up to President Bush when we differed about illegal immigration. And I didn't worry. I stood alone for a long, long time. You know, when I created that ordinance in Hazleton, we couldn't get a politician to come near me. And looking back, it was pretty good. I was glad. It was nice. Nobody came to Hazleton. So I'm not afraid to go and do what's right. And you know, again, my view is that, you know, people just want a good quality of life. That's all people are looking for. We're all looking to make a better opportunity for our children. I think that's embedded in Americans. Every generation has left the next generation a better opportunity. Our grandparents, we all heard stories of our grandparents of how it was when they came to America and how hard, you know, they worked and how little they had. But they did it for their children, so their children could have a better chance here. And our parents, and we could all look back at their lives, and you know, when they were young and how hard they worked and how little they had, but they did it so that we would have a better opportunity. Every generation left the next generation a better opportunity. We may be the first generation. We may be the first generation that won't be able to say that to our children and grandchildren. If we continue allowing this country to go in the direction that it's going, I believe we are robbing unborn children of a future. We are robbing innocent grandchildren and children of a better chance. Because they will have to pay this debt. Make no mistake about it. Somebody is going to pay the bill.